It's a teen talk skating podcast where I embarrass myself. Hello, and welcome to episode 32 of the Teen Talk Skating. My name is Yango, and I hope you all have been doing very, very well this week. I could be better, could be better. We all could be better, maybe I could be a lot better. But there's no week that I don't know what I'm saying anymore. There is no week where I don't love to talk bits about skating. This week, however, there is an unfortunate announcement I do have to make, but I will make that after we discuss our program of the week. So without further ado, let's hear my terrible singing and have fun with that. Program of the week. So, our program of the week this week is the very first time I am doing a program that is not in a competition like a short program or a free skate, but it's also not an exhibition gala. This, in fact, is a program done for an ice show, and that specific ice show is called Friends on Ice in Japan. And the program of the week is Mao Asada and her, I believe it's very brand new, show program to Chandelier by Sia. Because, oh my gosh, why is this so good? Mao Asada, what happened? Like, oh my gosh, like just when we thought you can get better, you did. Obviously Mao Asada is now retired, but like she is still so good. Like, oh my gosh. Um, like have you ever watched a skating performance and you just feel like the shock in your bones? Like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I'm watching this now because this is so epic and amazing. So the concept of this program, it just I don't know what it is, but it's freeing for me. It's liberating. It just frees everything inside of me and just makes me want to cry. Mao Asada is so talented, obviously, and this program shows so much of that. So it starts off with a piano version, a light piano, mostly vocal version of Chandelier. She does some light spirals and very fun moments, and then it does in a more epic version. She does a very cool thing. It's triple loop that just oh my gosh looks so clean. Like she could still be competing today. I swear, like she could still do it. I feel like Malazada could still do it. And then she even does these twizzles that are just like, oh my gosh, like Iceland's career win Malasada. Like, hello, who wants to be Malasada's partner? Um, but what other moments? The music, it is obviously not a competitive program. So it is not like, heavily choreographed to get all transition points and components and whatnot. It is so freeing and liberating and different and new and unique and stylistic and everything. And it's beautiful. It's raw. It feels emotional. She does this really cool thing where she kind of looks like she's going into a flying camel spin, but she doesn't. She kind of fakes out and then just stands in front of the audience, and everyone's screaming. And we all know like Japanese crowds are the absolute best. Oh, what else? She does like cancel lever, Ina Bauer, spirals, double axles that look like they could be triples one day. Like, gosh, Mausada, like, oh my gosh, who are you? Um, the outfit as well. She's wearing this like black tank and then short situation, but it's kind of covered by this white blouse, I guess, that is like flowing. And I love flowy sleeves. We talked about this, I believe, last week too. I love flowy sleeves. And her outfit just flows in the air. And the spotlight, because the ice shows in the dark, the spotlight on her is everything. The reds in the audience. Oh my gosh. It's just like if you ask me what show program or any like top programs that make me like shake, that make me like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing, this one would be definitely one of them, because Malasada, her Chandelier show program at Friends on Ice is so amazing. Go watch it. I guarantee you that you will literally have a heart attack over how beautiful this is, because it is so beautiful. Thank me later, people. Okay. That was your program of the week. So I hope you all have enjoyed listening to the program of the week for the very last time because I do have an announcement to make that I've decided to make today on this podcast. I've decided to go in a different direction for a teen talk skating. I've fallen out of love with figure skating. I just can't stand to watch triple lutz, triple toe combinations anymore. I can't stand to watch spread eagles anymore. I hate watching certain skaters. They give me the ick in a way. They give me an ick that I just can't explain. But I'm very sorry to disappoint all of the figure skating fans out there. But our time is up, you know? Me and figure skating, we were like a bad marriage. We just couldn't last. And we just couldn't last, and I'm so sorry about that. But from now on, I've decided to cover the other wonderful sport of artistic gymnastics. I've decided to leave figure skating completely behind, and I will be covering the sport of artistic gymnastics and their world championships and their Grand Prix and everything else. So if you're excited to do that, please come along with me. But yes, we are just talking about gymnastics from now on. Figure skating, never even heard of it at this point. Um, Now I am just kidding, thank God, right? Because I don't know a single drop of thing about gymnastics, like a wolf turn who. But yes, my bad acting. Please help me. It's like my last big acting gig was, on Broadway. No, I'm kidding. My last big acting gig was in the fifth grade in the musical. So I don't think I'm actually that well qualified to act in like completely anything. But I will say that today's episode is not just about gymnastics, actually. Today's episode is about reviewing other sports that I don't watch. Okay, I do not watch these sports. I really do just watch figure skating. Reviewing other sports that I don't watch and making awful comparisons to figure skating because why not? Because this week has been kind of stressful. Okay, like I've been crying all the night. All the nights. Gosh. Okay. All the nights. I'm kidding. But yeah, let's do something stupid. You know what? Like, if this podcast isn't stupid, I don't know what it is. So I am going off of Olympic sports today. So don't be mad if your sport isn't on here. And also, please don't be mad if I say something like bad or wrong or I'm like confused about how your favorite sport works. Because look, this is very for fun. I don't mean to offend anybody, okay? If I say something is like kind of lame, I'm very sorry. I don't mean to offend you at all, okay? Um, I'm trying not to get downvotes or something on this podcast. Okay, I'm really trying. Please follow. Yeah. So today's episode, we are going to be talking about Olympic sports, all the Olympic sports, and their comparisons with figure skating, how they do compare to figure skating, and what was I gonna say? I've lost my choo-choo train of thought. Choo 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 train. Yes, we're gonna talk about the summer sports first and then the winter sports. And we're gonna talk about how they're related to figure skating in the most, weird ways I can imagine. Um, so first off, for the summer, I'm going in alphabetical order, basically. First off, we have all the aquatic sports, which I did not know there were this many aquatic sports. The first one being very similar to figure skating, in my opinion, and that is artistic swimming. Now, artistic swimming is that one swimming event where they go swim in the water and they make cool shapes and they toss each other around and literally they hold their breath underwater for like 2 3 minutes 50 million minutes straight and they still look good. So, in a sense, artistic swimming, figure skating, like even in some languages, figure skating is just artistic skating. You know what I mean? Like artistic swimming, artistic skating, potato, potato. You know what I mean? Potato, potato. Um, so in a sense, like you have to have the artistic element in artistic swimming that figure skating also has. And another comparison is it's also in a form of water, like it's not, obviously it's the liquid form of water and not the rock hard, solid form of water, but it is in a form of water, and it is in a form of water. Yeah. Um, it is in a form of water. I've said that like 5 times. Like, are you okay, Van Gogh? Probably not. Diving. Okay, diving to me is kind of like the technical side of figure skating. There's a base value in terms of like the difficulty of what the dive that you do, right? Like if you do a somersault, oh my chair. If you do a somersault or whatever the ones with the handstands are cool, right? And you get a base value, kind of, right? Difficulty score, and then you get like an execution score, which is basically like GOE, grade of execution, right? Like you get a score from the judges. The judges, maybe they're probably less corrupt in diving, probably, but I'm not gonna talk about that today. Marathon swimming. I cannot seem to find a connection to figure skating. I mean, again, it's in a form of water, right? Marathon swimming, like, how do people do this? Not gonna lie, like, how? Like, I can't even swim like 5 feet without drowning in 3 feet, guys. Like, it's a 3 foot pool and I'm drowning. Like, how do people swim so long distance? Like, it, I don't know. Like, how do you even survive? How does your back survive that? How does your body do that? Like, I just can't imagine how people do it. But yeah, they're pretty good, I guess, at doing it. I feel like it's underrated, probably like long distance. This amount of long distance swimming, crazy. And then we have regular swimming in a pool, which, like, okay, like, people are gonna get mad at me. I'm sorry, but it's kind of boring. Like, not gonna lie. Like, okay. It's like, I'm so sorry, but like regular swimming, like back and forth in the pool, is it's a bit boring. Like, where's like the Bolero and Carmen that gives this stuff life? Like, yeah, I appreciate anyone who does swimming because I cannot swim, but like, it's a little bit boring. It's just a little. Yeah. Um, yeah. Water polo. Okay, don't be mad, but I did not know what water polo was until like 2 years ago. Because suddenly everyone and their mom is a water polo player. Everyone and their mom is a water polo player, and their mom is like the water polo mom. Like, like back then we had soccer moms, now we have water polo moms. Like, what the heck was water polo? And so I was very confused on what water polo was. Like, Marco Polo, I've heard of that guy. Water polo, never heard of him. But water polo is like basketball in a pool in a sense. And don't get mad at me because I don't know what it actually is. It's kind of like handball. It's more like handball in a pool. So you have to swim around and you catch the ball and you got to put it in the goal. Um, Looks hard. It looks pretty hard. Figure skating connection. It's in a form of water. And I guess you do have to get like good reaction speed, I guess. Okay, moving out of the water and onto the land, thank the Lord, we have archery. Now, when I was younger, I always wanted to be Katniss Everdeen. I even owned my own plastic toy archery set that is now down deep in the basement or something like that. But Katniss Everdeen was a huge inspiration of mine. I also wanted to be an archer. I also wanted to go hunting in the woods and set snares and then that could be another episode. The Hunger Games of figure skating. But I feel like archery, in a sense, you have to be very precise and accurate with archery. And a lot of other sports, but I feel like archery is a prime example of that. And I feel like in figure skating, you have to be very, like you have to spin on your blade just on the right angle, get that edge on your LUTs just right so you don't get a call on it and things like that. So I think in a sense they're both precisely connected. Now, athletics is, the track and field events. And I want to put all of them together because there's a lot of them. I don't have time. In general, I feel like the field events are a lot more interesting to me. People running it's fine. Steeplechase is pretty cool though. Badminton. Okay, badminton is actually my dream summer Olympic sport. If only I was athletic, people. If only I was athletic, I would so play badminton. I love playing at school. I love playing with other people. I love hitting things. Um, I feel like badminton, people like to jump a lot. I love like cool jump shots in badminton. And you have to jump really high, like in a certain sport called figure skating. Basketball is alright. It's basketball. 3 by 3 to 3. 3 against 3 I don't know how you say it. 3 against 3 basketball, however, is so much more intense than regular basketball. only having two other team members to rely on seems so scary. Like I know it is on a smaller court and stuff, but like I feel like that's so much more actiony and that's kind of interesting. Boxing is a big no-no for me because like I don't know, I get scared and I can't like in figure skating there's no fighting, okay? I mean there's no like actual fist to fist fighting in figure skating. I At least on the ice, right? Maybe off the ice, I hope not. Break dancing, cool stuff. A lot of people say it shouldn't be considered a sport. I kind of see it that kind of point of view. But I love how impressive it looks, and obviously, breakdancing has a very dance element to it, which is very very common in figure skating. And we've had like kind of breakdancing ish programs like Nathan Chen's Rocket Man and Benny and the Jets, for example, or gosh, who else? We've had breakdance esque programs. I think Jimmy Ma's done a more that kind of style of a program. I would love to see how breakdancing would be on the ice. I feel like it would probably give you a deduction, but who cares? Okay, first and not first. Gosh, we're far from first, people. Canoeing, canoeing is interesting for me. There are two forms, slalom and sprint. I don't really know the difference. I just know that you have to go through like poles, and if you don't go through the pole, you get a big fat no time deduction, which is kind of like figure skating. Like if you don't do so and so, you get a deduction. Like if you go a little bit over time, you get a bit of a deduction, or if you don't you forgot to you Zayak your jumps. No, no, no. Repetition on that. Next we have all these cycling events. BMX cycling is so cool. Like, I did not know how cool this was. So scary, but like, so cool at the same time. Freestyle cycling is like snowboarding on a bike, and then there's all these flips, and they're all like somersaulting in the air on a bike, and it's just like, whoa, 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 people. And in a way, figure skating is also kind of like hurling yourself into the air at a very high speed. The racing, though, is so scary as well. Mountain biking, road cycling, oh, and track cycling are all like racing on a bike too, and there's cool. Okay, now we have to talk about equestrian because I thought, oh my gosh, a horse. Like, what are we gonna talk about? Like, what's the connection to figure skating? But then I realized, equestrian, actually like the summer version of figure skating after all, right? First we have dressage. Question. I don't know how I'm saying it. Dressage equestrian, which is basically ice dance on a horse. I never thought that sentence would come out of my mouth, but here we go, right? It's ice dance on a horse, like genuinely. There's a giant rink, kind of, that on a land, and the horse has to memorize. You have to train your horse to memorize the steps and to go along with the music and like it's basically ice dance on a horse. You gotta think of all the steps and stuff. Oh, my mouth. Ooh. Eventing equestrian is basically all around horse edition. You have to do cross country and jumping, which is cool. Jumping equestrian, oh, is cool because and figure skating got jumping too. Now they're not really jumping and spinning in the air and stuff like that in figures or in equestrian. They're really doing jumping and leaping over cool barriers. But close enough. Fencing, I always wanted to do fencing too. The technology that they use is actually kind of insane. And like figure skating, I feel like you have to have a lot of agility, also good reflexes. I feel like in figure skating, reflexes are so important. Like when you get up, you have to like automatic. You fall, you have to automatically get up. Get that like reflex going in your brain. Field hockey is so interesting to me because it looks like it's basically ice hockey but on land, but the field looks giant and there's such a small scoring area and like the ball goes super fast. Like what if you get hit? It's kind of like when skaters like are doing crossovers and they're going so fast. I'm scared they're gonna like jump into the wall by accident. It's like actually scary. Next up we have football, or what the Americans, such as myself, called soccer calls. We call them soccer. We call it soccer, okay, friends? It's cool. You have to be fast. Yeah. Golf. Now, I think a lot of people say golf is boring. I don't necessarily disagree. It is quite plain. It's not bad. It's not bad. Um, let's think though. Golf, golf, golf. So let's think. Artistic gymnastics is after that though. But golf, let's talk about golf. Why did I move on to the next one? Golf is requires a lot of coordination, you know? I think that's kind of like skating. Artistic gymnastics is that one sport that gets so really, 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 really popular during the Olympics and it for good reason. To me, a wolf turn is basically a sit spin. Like except it looks like hard. Like a sit spin usually is like probably like the easiest spin to learn, but like a wolf turn looks like oh my god they're struggling. Oh my god, like they're like gonna stay in the air or not. Um, and what other movements are there? There's backflips, and now backflips are illegal, right? And so I feel like a lot of figure skating fans also tend to be artistic gymnastic fans anyway. I don't know what really like draws us towards them. I'm not a huge I don't really know anything about gymnastics, but a lot of people in figure skating love gymnastics too, and I just like I don't know what it is. It just draws us. Okay, rhythmic gymnastics, however, is different from artistic gymnastics, and to me, rhythmic gymnastics is probably the summer equivalent of figure skating. It is pretty much the most similar summer sport to figure skating, though again, it is quite far off, and you have to use your imagination just a bit. You know what I mean? So, we have things like, what was I gonna say? So, in rhythmic gymnastics, I cannot talk today. In rhythmic gymnastics, the gymnasts, skaters, the gymnasts have like the ball and the ribbon and the clubs and the hoop, and they like use music that is quite also, there's probably war horses and rhythmic gymnastics. It's probably a Carmen equivalent, right? And they do like cool dancing and acrobatic moves like splits and they throw things in the air and then they flip around and they catch them somehow and sometimes they're catching them with their feet and sometimes it lands on their back like what the heck. Um Again, there's also like an execution score and a difficulty score. There's an artistic element to rhythm gymnastics. To me, like the music choices are like pretty similar. I did see one with Rachmaninoff Piano Concerto Number Two, which brought back some trauma. But we're not gonna talk about it. Then we have trampoline gymnastics. Also super underrated, and I would also love to do it, except I'm very scared of heights and like I would not be able to flip. It's kind of like skating, right? Like the trampoline is like the ice, and the skater like it gets up in the air and they like flip. I mean, they don't really flip; they spin around and they land. Okay, the analogy is bad. Okay, like it's a reach, but it's a beautiful reach. Handball sounds so underrated. Like, why is this not like more popular than basketball? I feel like handball is so cool. High jumps to throw the ball in are super super cool. Judo, oh my gosh, judo scares me because it's kind of like wrestling, but then like you're trying to like twist each other around. Like, what if someone like breaks something? Like, ooh, like this sounds scary. Like judo, like ooh, judo. Um, Yes, judo's very scary, but I feel like you also have to be very predictive about like the other person and what they do and their moves and whatnot. Modern pentaph modern pentathlon is basically like every sport combined like ever. Not really, but there's horses and there's swimming and they're running, like, you have to be very well rounded in everything to be in modern pentathlon. Major respect to people who do this. It's kind of like how in skating, oh my god, I sound bad. It's kind of like how in skating you have to be very well rounded and be technical and artistic if you want to win. Usually, Then we have this little thing called rowing, and rowing is cool, like, because the team effort is, like, very, very crucial in rowing, but, like, what if one person is, like, slightly unsynchronized? Like, that is so scary for me to think, because like, one person can be, like, slightly off, and that could probably ruin, like, the whole thing, and, because it's so synchronized, you know what this connects to? I'll give you a little hint. It also starts with the word synchronized. Synchronized skating, of course, because again, in synchronized skating, very much a team effort in terms of, everyone needs to be perfectly in coordination, perfectly aligned, and that's kind of like how rowing works. Rugby sevens is like football, like American football, but like with different rules, I think. I did not get a good read on what rugby sevens really is. Sailing, however, is really cool because there's boats and, it could be a windy day or it could not be. So, I would say it's kind of like how ice quality could be really good at one event, and then the other event, the ice is literally melting with the skater's eye, and you can literally see the shine on the rink. But maybe I'm using this episode in the wrong way. I should actually be talking about these sports and not like my complaints about the figure skating world sometimes, but you just can't stop me, okay? You just can't stop me. Okay, then we have shooting, which looks a bit boring, but also really, really hard. Obviously, with shooting, I think you have to be very, very synchronized, coordinated in terms of your balance and your position and where you're gonna shoot the thingy, the pellet, I guess. Then we have sport climbing. Sport climbing again. I would be scared for my whole dang life watching this because I would be so scared of climbing anything in the whole wide world because I can't climb a thing, ever, ever, ever. I just, like climbing things scares me so much. But it is super cool to watch people like go really fast up a wall that I would like, they spend like 8 seconds getting up a wall that I would take like a whole few weeks to get up because I'm too scared. Surfing is also so scary to watch because like I've never been surfing. I know, kind of shocking, but I've never been surfing, and, like, what if you get just swallowed by a wave, like, and it's dependent kind of on nature because of, like, the water and stuff, and there are also scores for surfing from what I can tell, they seem a bit subjective as well, kinda like a little sport called figure skating. Now again, like diving, I'm sure surfing has more fair judges and there's actually like clear criteria to really, really follow. But yeah, I think there probably is better criteria to follow. Table tennis is like tennis in the sense that it can get so tense and intense, and I want to go sleep in a tent. But no, that's not what's really happening. Table tennis is really tense because it's this tiny, tiny table, and people are going back and forth with their ball, and they go back and forth. But sometimes like the ball will leap outside the table, and the other person like has to return it, and it gets so scary. Like, oh my gosh, oh my god, who's gonna get out? Who's not gonna get out? The far shots are really crazy. The tricks they do to get the ball back on the table are so crazy. The serving is so interesting. Like, you just can't convince me that like that isn't awesome. And then we have taekwondo. So with taekwondo, I feel like the reflexes in taekwondo are insane. As I mentioned, you have to be very, very reflexive. That's not a word. You have to be very, very quick at responding to different ideas and different methods in figure skating. The reaction seat as well. Like your opponent like tries and make an attempt at you, you scoot back. Like, oh my gosh, it's actually so scary because like once you break that tension, like all mayhem just breaks loose. And like, how do you, I just don't know, how do you do that? Kind of like how you have to get up from a bad fall, right? You have to react very quickly. You don't expect you're going to fall at all, but you kind of have to expect it at the same time, if that makes any sense, which I know it doesn't because I never make sense. Tennis, okay. I will say, like, I watched like occasional tennis. Like, I watched a bit of tennis, like a clip on YouTube, and like, tennis is so interesting to me. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of like how the system really works in tennis, how the tournaments work, the seeds and whatnot, which are so interesting. Oh my god. Oh my god, I think I might pass out, guys. But tennis is so interesting in that sense that I honestly would maybe one day like to watch tennis. Can you believe that? Um Let's see. So, yes, I can't serve, but it's fine. Doubles is so cool to watch in tennis though. Like, I don't know what it is about doubles tennis, but like having like four people on the court at once is so so scary. And I just, I can't watch, because it goes back and back and forth, and you wonder like when is it gonna stop? But yes, tennis, and there's cool shots, I guess. Triathlon is so difficult. Like I don't understand how people actually humanly can do this because you have to go swimming, then you have to go ride a bike, and then you still have to run. Like I understand like triathlon, like swimming, biking, and running. That must be like the most exhausting thing in the world. Like, how do you do that? And like, it's not like you're swimming for like 5 minutes. No, you're swimming for like 20 minutes, and you're biking for like so long, and you're running for so long, and it's just like, huh. And yes, triathlon is so interesting, and you have to like go in between. You have to change your equipment out, and it's crazy. How triathlon athletes do it because like I could never. I really, 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 really could never. Volleyball is also very intense to watch. There's a lot of jumping involved in volleyball, which is just like skating. The spikes are super cool. Um, I'm tired. But that's not a sport, is it? Is sleep a sport? Because I think I would get the gold medal. Anyway, we have beach volleyball, which is interesting to watch because it is like doubles, I guess. It is two people, and you have to work very much in tandem with one another, in conjunction with one another, which is kind of like a little sport called figure skating. Pairs and ice dancers have to be super in sync with one another, and if they are not, lots of tiny mistakes happen, and they don't get the amount of points they should, which is exactly what happens in beach volleyball, right? Okay, and then what is it called again? We have we have weightlifting. Weightlifting is so intense because you don't know if they can get actually like lift the weight or not. It's kind of just like, oh my gosh, let's hope they do. And sometimes they don't, and then I get scared, and then I don't know. And then last but not least, of all these summer sports, we have wrestling. Wrestling is actually so scary. I don't know. um, I actually do not know how not skating, wrestling really works. I have friends who do compete in wrestling. I don't know how they can really do that. But they figure it out, Um, and they do, and it scares me. It scares me, people. It scares me so bad. But then we have what is it? Then we have the winter sports. Okay, the winter sports, naturally the winter sports are all similar to figure skating because, they take place in the winter, right? We're on the winter. In the winter, they take place in the winter with, you know, not land. Oh my god, what am I talking about? They take place in the winter with, the snow or the ice, and so just like figure skating is also a wintry sport, this is just like that. And so let's think. So our first winter sport is alpine skiing, which if you don't know, alpine skiing is basically something. It's a lot of something. Alpine skiing is basically like um going downhill, right? Kind of. And you kind of want to go down the slope. And like I think this is the one where you like dodge the obstacles and stuff, and that is very, 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 very scary. You have to go back and forth, which is kind of like skating in a sense, right? We've seen skaters like kind of go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, sliding left and right, which, is kind of interesting how that compares. Biathlon is skiing and shooting together. Coordination is also so important here, just like a little thing called figure skating. Okay, bobsleigh. Okay, all the ones where you have to like slide down in an ice rink and you go fast are so scary to me. How do you put yourself through that? Like genuinely, how do you put yourself through that? You are actually so insane. But biathlon is all about oh no, not biathlon, bobsleigh. I'm getting tired, guys. Bobsleigh is all about um and it's usually, I feel like more of the events have teams, right, in a bobsleigh, and you can go slide around. At least you're facing forward though, because some of the other ones, ooh wee, skating, sliding around is scary. Cross country skiing is weird and interesting because I can't even do cross country on land. How are you doing it on snow with skis? I have major respect for you. Like, you travel long distances on land is actually like, oh my god, how do you do that? Okay, and then we have a little thing called curling. I feel like curling is a lot harder than people actually think. I feel like curling is treated like that one sport that doesn't like matter enough. People think it's lame, but I do feel like it actually, like, you actually need so much like coordination on it. Like, you need so much, like, connection to what you're doing, who you are, your teammates, obviously, in curling, the angles of everything. And just like figure skating, those angles are so important because if you go and you do a jump on the wrong angle in figure skating, obviously you can't really land it, can you? And it's just kind of like that in curling, and you have to try to get ahead of the other team, get them out of the top spot by how many points they have close to the center, which is kind of like figure skating. You want to be better, you want to be more accurate and beat the other teams based on their points as well. And then we have, let's see. And then we have a little sport. I've never heard of this one in my life. I've never heard of it at all. It looks pretty lame though. It's called figure skating. I just can't understand. There was like this random dude. He was skating to like some awful pop music, and I just, who even likes to watch stuff? Like, if you like to watch stuff, you're in the, ugh, like, I can't even talk to you. Yeah, never heard of figure skating before. Freestyle skiing is the skiing version with like all the very, very cool like twists and flips and jumps and like, oh my gosh, like, oh my gosh. This is the one you kind of go in a slope and you go back and forth and you do cool things like that. And you spin around again, you spin around a lot. You jump in the air and you spin around, just like a figure's getting jumped, right, right, right. But they're doing like very high amounts of rotation, so I guess it's not really that similar. But I'd like to pretend it's kind of similar, right? Um, and then we have, let's think, and then we have ice hockey. Ice hockey always reminds me of all those figure skater plus hockey player romance books that exist. We could have another episode on the whole figure skating book world and its shortcomings, and it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. We love tropes that are just kind of annoying at this point. But ice hockey is cool and it's kind of action based and it's kind of fun to watch. I don't watch it often, but ice hockey is kind of cool. Um, Definitely kind of cool, right, right, right. And then we have, let's see, and then we have the luge. Okay, so the luge is so scary because I'm sorry, like, how do you do this? So you are laying down on this giant sled, basically. You're laying down and you have to look up the whole time. Like, you basically, like, how you don't even really know where you're kind of going. You just gotta lay down, go really, really fast as you can, and you're going like 50,000 miles an hour. There's like these like sharp turns and cuts and all this crazy stuff that, like, how do people do this? Like, genuinely, how in the world do you do this? Because this is so scary. And like just laying down and like hoping that you don't crash into something, like hoping you don't fall off. Like, oh my god. Nordic combined is cross country skiing and ski jumping, and it's like track and field combined, really. It's like, oh my gosh, it's kind of like how artistry and technical art combined. Not funny. Okay, short track speed skating, however, is basically figure skating's older brother slash cousin. For those of you who don't know, short track speed skating is basically also having skates or blades attached to your feet that are, I think, not as sharp probably. But you are basically skating around on ice, and it's like an ice track, and you want to go as fast as you can. Traveling around, sliding around on the ice, and you want to like beat the other people and hope you don't fall down. Because what do we say on this podcast, people? Ice is slippery. You got it. Then we have a skeleton, which is basically luge, but instead of laying up and looking straight up, you have to lay down. Like again, oh my god, laying flat down on your stomach sounds so scary. Like why? Why do people come up with this? Like I get chills just watching it. Ski jumping is so much fun to watch because you kind of ski down this big slope and then you hit another like upward slope and then you launch yourself into the air and you do a couple cool turns and flips. Which what is it kind of like, people? Oh, like a triple axel kind of. Not, I don't, not really, not not really. Um, but that's my sad comparison to it. Um, and let's think. Then we have ski mountaineering. So this is going up a mountain with your skis. And like, what if you got lost? Like, what if your skis broke? Like, I feel like this is also really, really underrated. Snowboarding. Snowboarding is like ski or not like skiing. Snowboarding is kind of like the ski. What is it called? Oh, no, wait, no, freestyle skiing. You go down this big, like, tunnel, loop, half tunnel, I guess, and you slide around, and then you do cool flips in the air, like, like 360s and 720s and whatever a quad axle is. Wait, what would a quad axle be like? 1620? Look, math was not my strongest suit, okay? I mean, it's still not. You should see me in math. Oh my god. Um, Speed skating is figure skating's other older brother. It is short track speed skating, except it is not a short track, but rather a long track, if that makes sense. Anyway, that is all the Olympic sports that I have had time to make bad figure skating comparisons to. Major respect to all people in all sports because like how people have, especially people doing like modern pentathlon, like how do you do that? Especially people who do marathon swimming. I cannot. But anyway, overall, I would say the sports most similar to figure skating are artistic swimming, rhythmic gymnastics, um, maybe short track speed skating, and maybe diving as well. Definitely rhythmic gymnastics is probably the most similar, and I feel like rhythmic gymnastics is really, really cool. But yes, major respect to all athletes because how people have I'm very sorry again if I said your sport was kind of boring to watch or it was too scary for me to watch. I don't mean any offense. All opinions are mine. If you don't like it, then it's okay. Yes, please don't cancel me. But thank you so much for listening to this episode of a Teen Talk Skiing podcast. My name is Ango, and I will see you next week where we will do something. We will probably do a recap of the season so far because oh my god, it's been crazy. Anyway, thank you so much, and bye bye.